Natural Resources Minister Seamus O'Regan joins us now. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Amanda.
So, you heard it there. Obviously, the Premier will know that as part of the package, credit backstop is there. I couldn't get Finance Minister Bill Morneau to tell me the amount that Ottawa is earmarking for the size of that package. Do we have any idea how much credit backstopping there might be? Will it be $15 to $30 billion worth?
Well, I think the minister probably indicated to you that there's no cap. This is demand driven. We will be talking to small and medium-sized enterprises. The bulk of these seem to be medium-sized about what their needs are, and then we'll be ready to meet them, working with the BDC and EDC. As I think I've repeated several times on Friday, something that many Canadians, I'm sure a lot of your viewers do understand, but the bulk of the jobs, 85% of them are in SMEs. And so when we were on Friday, when we were really looking at a worker-driven stimulus package coupled with what we had announced on orphan wells, we were really looking at small and medium-sized enterprises. And liquidity and the liquidity package that we announced was I think well received by many of the people that I'd been talking to for weeks beforehand. CAP saying to me that the top three of their top five priorities was liquidity, liquidity, and liquidity, and the same from other parts of the industry as well, including labor. Labor made the point that if companies aren't there to protect the jobs, then workers don't have jobs to come back to. So liquidity was a huge part of Friday's announcement, and I understand where the Premier's coming from, and I've been working hand in glove with his Energy Minister Sonia Savage to make sure that our efforts continue to work well together.
One of the methods of a market to create efficiency is price. Well, we see the price of oil collapsing here. We know that is partly driven by the short-term global phenomenon called COVID-19. It will pass, but it should actually create some efficiency, right? In a normal time, in a normal recession, we would unfortunately have energy businesses that go out of business. We would see shut-in oil. We would see all kinds of producers that change what they do as a consequence of the price. How far can and should governments go to override that and keep businesses from making the necessary adjustments to that price?
And that's an excellent question, and that's a constant balance that we're trying to work out with the Alberta government. But I can't stress enough that is what we're trying to attain together. Trying to figure out that balance is key, but it's unprecedented times. You've got the crisis of COVID. You also have the crisis of a price war that initiated with Saudi Arabia. And Russia, and the effects of that are still very much being felt. The price cut that was negotiated at OPEC Plus won't take effect until next month. And even then, some people are saying that that's kind of, they've booked it and they're moving on. There are other factors that are at play too, including storage, that are affecting futures and affecting the price. So there's a myriad of things. I think the most important thing that you can do at times like this is make sure that you work very closely together, different levels of government. I have had a very good relationship with Sonia Savage, the Energy Minister in Alberta, as well as Bronwyn Eyre in Saskatchewan and Siobhan Cody in Newfoundland and Labrador, and we talk frequently and often, including even before the regular conversations I have with the U.S. Energy Secretary Dan Brouillette, to really make sure that our governments are working together on this, because when things are this fluid, you need to make sure that lines of communication are open.
Mm-hmm. Are you willing and able, you and your counterparts, because it's not all going to fall on your shoulders, but to say no to some businesses? In other words, to do the necessary steps to say you don't qualify, in the same way that a bank will tell some mortgage holders that they need to pay their mortgage on time because they can afford it. You might have to turn down some businesses, even if it's at the cost of their staying in business.
In dealing with CAP and EPAC and a number of other industry associations and who are representing all sizes of companies, I've never got the impression that everything must stay as is. I think that they understand too that as you pointed out, that some consolidation will happen. What I think what I got from them is in utterly unprecedented circumstances, we have to make sure that the survivors survive. We have to make sure that an industry that we have spent decades building, to the point that we are now the fourth largest producer of oil in the world. We have to make sure that that remains whole, and we have to make sure that the industry has a solid future to look forward to. Here in Newfoundland and Labrador, for instance, you have a sweet light crude that we produce offshore here that will make for a very good transition fuel. It doesn't require as much refining, and it will be a good product. But this is obviously an industry too. Although it's at Brent crude, it's still suffering the strains of the entire two crises that are happening at the same time. So, I'll be meeting with the Industry Association here on Friday on specific ideas for the offshore in which we can maintain that. And again, from them, it's never been a matter of status quo. It's a matter of, of making sure that the survivors survive and that this industry coming out of it is more competitive than it was going in.
All right, Minister, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for being with us.